I'd be curious if they go a different direction entirely and give Xiaopeng an early jungle matchup.
You could blind pick the Lee Sin, but I don't really see much point in it when you can just opt into taking what was so strong last game.
Do you need to pick AD carry here if it's misfortune?
If you're picking AD carry here, it's saying you don't want to show something. But at the same time, I don't really know what you're trying to hide when those two picks just jump out so heavily.
When MF as well, not something that's normally banned here in the LPL.
Of course, you can also just take the Trundle, but that's not the style we would expect out of DMO.
Bottom lane short up. They go over the Thresh. Hands are in the air, Lyric. I understand. I think a lot of people do.
Even the Thresh, it's whatever. The fact that you had so much success with Syndra, the fact that Angel had so much success with Syndra, and you're not opting into Syndra is pretty confusing.
Giving it away, right? SOFM for the jungle pick, and then you assume Angel back on the Syndra.
The thing that's nice about Suning, right, is they do have a lot more options in the mid lane. It is DMO who we look at and say, hey, you have a very small mid lane champion pool, right?
Yeah, that's
so
true.
Unless you're willing to opt into one of your pocket picks, why not go on such a strong champion? But speaking of strong pocket picks, Sword Art has looked absolutely beautiful on this Bardol split.
The champion, we started the split by saying it doesn't really suit Sword Art from what we've seen in the past, has quickly become part of his repertoire, and yeah, he looks great on it. Well, speaking of great, which side? Both Lee and the Syndra were good picks, as there we go, Lyric. It's given over anyway.
Yeah, so I'm happy to see DMO back on this. Pretty strange to see them draft this bot side, but when you see a Misfortune come out, right, she's such a strong early laner, you do expect to see DMO playing more heavily through their bot lane this time around.
And a jungle to facilitate it, but which one will it be? Because we go on to the second ban phase, and it's LeBlanc taken off the board immediately. You talked about Angel's champion pool, slimming it to some margin.
It is a pretty decent ban coming out, and, going back to what's already on the table, though, the nice thing for suiting against what DMO have is obviously both Ashe Ultimate and Bard Ultimate going to be very easy to shut down any bullet times that Shubin wants to set up.
Easy pick again, right? Suiting will be doing all serious long.
Yep, and so now suiting with the expected Lee Sin ban after last game. I'm not quite sure what Xiaopeng's going to be able to pull out of his pool. He can look back towards game one and go towards something like a Rek'Sai, or even pull out something entirely new like an Olaf or Elise, which we have seen earlier in the split.
True. Double jungle ban. You said in the second ban phase, not many teams hover down to one role.
No, we typically see in the LPL just banning out champions you don't like. You don't typically target ban out a certain
LeBlanc, Renekton.
Exactly, right?
But it is double jungle ban. You get rid of the Jarvan. We are now into the BC tier.
Knowing Xiaopeng, I expect it to be the Rek'Sai.
Okay. Would you like to wait, though? Because it seems like we're going to have a jungle last pick.
The fact that Wukong is open, I think it makes sense for DMO to pick this up here, especially when you factor in that you have Chalitza in your top lane, and he really is pretty much only an Ornn and Wukong player.
Pretty big setup on team fighting. I'm curious as to what DMO nail it down with. Also note that we haven't done this in the LPL, but we have seen Wukong jungle at some point.
I want to see what Suning go with here, because they can opt back into the Zoe. The Kassadin is still up as well, but that wouldn't be too much pressure. Galio, a champion that neutralizes the mid lane against Syndra in some sense, but at the same time, you don't really have any good setup to bring Galio in the middle of what DMO drafted.
It does feel like it's defensive, right? When you talked about how the setup for bottom lane is for DMO, maybe it's a counter response.
But at the same time, I'm not really a fan of defensive Galio. It doesn't make a lot of sense, especially when you're only giving that magical shield now, right? It's not like the resistances that old Galio would give.
As the Jax for round 2. What are your thoughts here, Lyric? This is a very different draft.
So once again, we're going towards this hard 1-4 style composition, unless Suning want to try and have Jax come in on a flank, jump in, and then Galio follow in, but it sounds pretty strange.
Well, the final lock-in is the Kindred for Xiaopeng. You have to remember that the other jungler on this team, Bless, also known as Itong in the past, was the Kindred one trick. Xiaopeng shown us in the past he can play it as well, especially now that it's in the meta. So, welcome to DMO's comp, Lyric. You're about to tell me what it does. I
mean, once again, DMO's sticking with simplicity, right? You look at this, you see a lot of AoE, a lot of engage, just great DPS, great burst, going to be amazing in the team fights. And even Xiaopeng going towards the Kindred. We don't see a lot of Kindred here in the LPL, despite the fact that some people do think it's very good into the Trundle.
Yeah.
But Xiaopeng himself plays a lot of Kindred in solo queue. A lot.
Because it's building towards a mid 2v2 again, right? But in a different way than you would see with Lee Sin.
It's a bit of a mid-jungle 2v2.
A bit.
You have the CC there from the Syndra. You have damage coming out of the Kindred, but Kindred is just a lot more of a, I'd say, farming counter-jungle type of champion, right? So it'll be a lot more about the Syndra supporting the Kindred rather than the other way around. And you are going to have priority in the mid lane for Syndra to do that.
Okay. Priority mid. You talked about how the bot was set up before. I like this, though. For DMO, you know, exploring a little bit. Is that a fair way to put it? Are we exploring in our drafts? In this series, it feels like we definitely have been.
I actually feel like for DMO, they're keeping it pretty stock and standard, which is nice. Just looking at these drafts, I like what DMO put together, and it's when you move over to Suiting where you're like, well, how does this work? It's Tempered Fate / Enchanted Crystal Arrow chained into Angel running in, or them playing a kind of keep away role so Bin can become that large split push threat. Which
he wasn't in game 2. We saw the exact same matchup in the top lane. How's it get influenced differently this time? We'll tell you as we go into game number 3. DMO picked up their first game win. They're hungry. They want their first series win, and all they have to do is take down Suiting here in the 3rd and final game of the series. We've only just started the LPL night, and it has been a bit explosive. We'll see how early the Dragon Soul comes this time around as we enter Summoner's Rift. Sad. We haven't seen Chicken Galio tonight. KFC would be upset about that. That is a sponsorship opportunity left at the door.
We actually do have something. Yeah, exactly. We've had this a bit before, but you actually don't see any other region pick it up, and obviously doing a lot better of essentially trying to get away from the enemy junglers when you have things like Kindred and Graves.
All right. You were questioning Suiting's draft a little bit, or at least how it's going to function. Don't tell me I have to pause again, do I? Quick, tell me before.
There's one thing you have on the side of Suiting is a lot of mobility around the map, right? You have the ultimate from Galio coming out. You have the magical journey coming out from Bard. So you can try to create a snowball off of finding numbers advantage and moving around the map first. But that also seems to contradict you picking this scaling top laner in the Jax.
Sure.
But it's still something we can look for, right? Suiting can find a play bot with the Galio ultimate or Bard roaming top and then snowball off that advantage.
As Chalitza already seeing action in this top side. That's a really good trade back considering how Chalitza got stunned up by the Counter-Strike. But we saw in the previous landing phase how this matchup interacts and how easy it is for Chalitza to press W and escape. Ooh, one phone. That's a good little dredge line.
In game 1, we said Mitsuki wants to be a playmaker.
Yep.
Sure, he might overstep and make some mistakes sometimes, but you can see this is a guy who's not afraid of pulling the trigger.
And he looks a lot better with Shubin than he did with Helper. Together as a duo, they failed. At least Mitsuki, a lot more confidence here with Shubin, and Shubin seems to be on the same ball with his support.
And for anyone who doesn't know, both bot lanes, Shubin and Helper, along with Mitsuki, do come from the DMO LDL team.
Yep.
Both AD carries also played in LDL. I would say that Shubin and Mitsuki look slightly better than Helper with Mitsuki, so it was quite strange when we saw Helper brought up first over Shubin, but instead realizing that this was the change they needed, and of course finally picking up a win.
A reminder that Shubin, game talents with Gimgoon back in the day, 2017 if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, 2017 spring.
As SOFM's going for an invade, Xiaopeng wasn't spotted out with the Hawk shot we saw on the map a little bit earlier. Now picks up his red buff, ready to duel SOFM, who has phase rush. But you look at mid while we're looking bot, it's a heal burnt out. One Pong steps way too far forward. Exhaust placed by Sword Art. 2 summoners versus 2 summoners. Low health bar on one Pong.
Ultimately, not much going to happen. And going back up towards what's happening topside, we actually see SOFM kind of posturing for a dive. And Xiaopeng is going to the opposite side of the map, so it is a play they can look for, especially when you have the Counter-Strike coming out from Bin.
Very different from the early game last time with the Jax, right? Where Bin was separated by vertical jungling from Xiaopeng.
Also very different in the fact that DMO have drafted this Kindred, right? You're going to need time to get online, and we're looking more towards the mid and late game team fights for the side of DMO to where Suiting can try to play around these early laning advantages. We talked about in game 2 how Jax is a counter to Wukong.
Yep.
Trundle, of course, very strong in these early skirmishes as well.
We kind of come back to the point of Xiaopeng where his mark is starting up. If you want to see him farm, you want to see him get those marks early so he gets the range advantage, more attack speed on the Dance of Arrows. SOFM takes away the Scuttle topside, which was the starting mark for this Kindred.
And going back to the Kindred, what's important for me to see out of Xiaopeng this game, Xiaopeng and Twyla together is keeping this Galio in lane. We've seen a lot of Syndra players able to bully out this matchup in the straight-up 1v1, but in Game 2, you touched on it, right? Twyla is not really known for his laning prowess, so we're probably going to need to see Xiaopeng hover around mid, get this vision down, and make sure Angel isn't able to get to his side lane first with his ultimate and really impact a 1v1 or 2v2.
Angel with a lane that shouldn't have priority in Game 2, you were saying, was able to just roam super early in Game 2, and Twyla was the later effect. It only came through a gank in the bottom side that DMO were able to get that early advantage and catch them off guard. As Sword Art is starting to roam, this is the next bonus about Bard.
Yeah, so this is actually great coming from Suning.
Counter-Strike lands this time.
Xiaopeng's here.
Okay, half health is Chalitza, bringing him towards the jungler, and Bin's gone too far forward, takes the trade, 1 versus 2. It's a flash away from Chalitza, and it's first blood over to Kindred.
I thought Bin would have gotten it, right? He has to flash up, maybe not having confidence that he can get off that either, you know, W or whatever, even if an auto attack would have finished it off, but still great sense from Xiaopeng coming in. Chalitza setting it up on a knife's edge, still ends up alive, so great to see out of him as well.
Bin getting bullied this series. It was game 1 on the, what was it, the Aatrox, where Xiaopeng made his presence known. This time around, first blood going to Xiaopeng yet again here. And SOFM going to trade with a response towards bottom side jungle. Get that invade down.
Angel, though, is level 6.
He is. Galio Big Chicken coming in. Has teleport, too.
And this is very reminiscent of Game 1 of setting up those dives. Even Game 2, right? Trying to bleed out Shubin and Mitsuki from turret plates and farm.
They're also the response of the bullying from Suning.
But looking at Suning, my biggest issue with Galio comps is when you don't have anything to help bring you into a fight.
Yeah.
And we saw WE try to patch that up by taking the Predator on the Galio, which even I don't think is enough, but we saw WE able to pull it off multiple times. This time around for Angel, you have absolutely nothing. I guess you have Unsealed Spellbook, so you can take a Ghost and try to get in there, but
at least with someone like WE, we saw Beisheng play a lot of like the Echo, the Olaf that can run into the backline and give him way for the hero's entrance. How do you have that here? Who do you have? You have Bin, right?
And you could make the argument that Suning don't want to run into what DMO have drafted, but Galio also not really a disengaged champion that...
Xiaopeng with a steal. Bin chasing after him. Leap strike on hold here, but Angel over this wall. Good taunt, but the blast cone. Oh, the blast cone is the MVP.
That was actually pretty beautiful to see how decisive Suning was once they recognized the opportunity to kill him, but like you said, Blast Cone MVP, and Xiaopeng getting away with not only stealing the scuttle, but also still ahead in both farm and with a kill.
Gets that mark. The flash was responded by Angel as well, so he's now had to change his summon spell to heal. That's a win here for the Kindred jungle, who goes back and picks up the Caulfield's Warhammer. Xiaopeng getting away with murder, it feels like.
Luckily, though, for the side of Suning, we do see this counter pick kind of paying off. Been creating a CS advantage and going to keep bullying out Chalitza.
This time around? Because remember, Game 2 didn't really have a big CS lead. True. About 10, 15 at some point.
He did get ganked early on, though, right? So he wasn't really able to abuse
it. He got ganked this time as well.
Yeah, wasn't able to abuse that to the fullest. And I also liked it if you look at your mini-map, we see Sword Art hovering towards the top side, so just anticipating if any shenanigans do happen, he could be there.
Roaming constantly this game. Bot with a small CS lead. Actually only about 3-4. It was more before. Angel down some CS in the mid lane, and you talked about top side a little bit before. First blood, the only thing netting gold here for DMO by about 500. As we're invading once again. Xiaopeng level 6. That means Lamb's Respite's available. SOFM bullies him. Gets a rune and walks away. Okay, comes back in.
Ooh, and all of Suning are heading up here. Even Sword Art's on his way. 3 members of DMO towards the bottom half of the map. And no TPs, so...
Sword Art.
Suning.
Here we go. Against the wall. Slowed down. Phase rush once again. The chomp down. Wait for the ulti. That's not going to be used with versus 4. And that's a wise move from Xiaopeng.
And also really interesting rotation coming out of Suning, something we've seen a lot in the past, but not so much, I'd say, in Season 10, where they just rotate their whole bot lane up towards mid.
And Chalita has to survive against it. Sword Art tanks the first 2 shots. Second Cyclone in. Angel, the turret ramp up. As that was well dove. Suning with another kill.
Yeah, great job by Suning. And kind of going back to how they set this play up, right? They realized they don't have an easy way of finding an opening, so they had to give an opening to get an opening. They gave a bot lane, move their bot lane towards the mid lane, and then you have man advantage on top side, can easily execute this dive and find these kills.
How ironic, because Suning have been giving up other things on the map throughout this series just to get Feng with a bit of a lead too.
Yeah, and this time around kind of doing the opposite. Feng was the only one not involved in that play.
And now Suning's going to start up this Herald. It's SOFM by himself. It's deep vision that's been enabled through that dive. Suning with control up the top side for once in this series.
Yep, so they're going to be able to get some kind of objective payoff, and they are the ones who secured the first dragon as well, so doing a good job of controlling the early game thus far. But at the same time as DMO, gold is even.
Yep.
You feel fine, you have your Kindred scaling up, you still have a very strong 5v5 team fight.
Twala's in a good position. He picked up turret plating through that trade. He's 20 CS in the lead, almost towards what could be the Hose or the Luden's Echo once again. So 105 CS at 10 minutes in the game. You feel pretty good. And it feels good to talk about Twala's laning phase.
I also want to see what DMO can actually make happen. They really want to be standing in front of some kind of neutral objective and get Suning to fight them, but with no neutral up as of yet, they don't have too many gank opportunities. Suning's bot lane having disengage in their ultimates. Angel going to be hard to kill in the mid lane as well.
About ready with the ultimate, almost proto belt. Xiaopeng stealing away the Raptors, heading bot. The dive, as Sword Art and Feng back away.
The thing about Suning in this position is they recognize that this is what DMO should do, because SOFM's going to head top and use that Herald to keep trying to snowball this Jack. So you'd expect them to trade turrets and DMO to be able to pick up this next dragon.
They can always delay this with a Tempered Fate too. As Sword Art gets the trade down nicely. Xiaopeng interrupted with Krugs. Shubin pushing this way pretty fast, and that turret begs to die. But first turret blood will go top.
It's interesting to see, because when we talked about the compositions early on, we talked about how Suning can try and snowball this game off their map mobility, which is what they did by making that play topside with having Bard go up as well as Angel.
Again comes back to DMO on another note with the bottom side priority, while turret in the top side makes 2. So the full push comes out, Chalita pays respect. DMO 1 with the dragon on top.
And this actually feels so great for the side of Suning, because the fact that Bin wins in that 1v1, he's going to be able to take advantage of that long lane as long as Suning are able to set up vision for him on the top half of the map, and would also make us think that when it comes time for next Herald, Suning can be in a good position to punish with that constant pressure in the 1v1.
The pressure that, again, didn't exist in game number 2. So we finally get to see Bin in a moment of command, but Lyric, what happens now? Because we've got this lead, we've got this snowballing top lane is so far ahead in CS. We've got a mid Galio who picked up a first kill, sorry, early kill, if I can get my words together, and Proto Belt. So Suning's side lanes, solo lanes, are in decent enough positions moving into mid game.
I'd love to see, I'm sure chat's going to love this,
okay,
Wukong freeze the lane.
Oh,
try and keep it there, try and keep it as long as you can. Don't give Jax the opportunity to come and farm. Suning aren't exactly in a good position where they can push into that top side jungle and really get down vision safely, as long as too many members of DMO aren't showing on the map, because as DMO right now, you have nothing to fight for, right?
Yep.
We've said they want to fight these 5v5 team fights. You're not just going to mindlessly sit in front of one of Suning's towers and hope they fight you, because they don't have to. So it's about buying time for the objective. And look at him. Chilich's just keeping the wave here, Asterix. It's great.
Oh my god.
Where is LS?
When you need him, he will come. Xiaopeng back in his own jungle, challenging Bin, who's got nothing else to fight for.
Yep, so DMO doing exactly what we want to see out of them, and now it's up to Suning to find a window to create a play. The good thing for Suning is they have a lot of ways to create a window, right?
Yep.
You have the ultimate from Galio. You can have Sword Art roam over, throw down a Tempered Fate on something like the Misfortune, chain it into an Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and try to turn that into a kill. So we want to see Suning be the proactive ones on the map right now.
As Bin is on top of Chalita once again. Cyclone used defensively. Bin didn't even have to pop his ulti to get that extra armor and MR. Angel's now on the bottom side, setting up the dive, Lyric.
It's what we wanted to see. Suning need to be the ones creating proactive plays, and good trade coming out from Twilight to Dissuade, but also from Xiaopeng and Mitsuki hovering over. Did a great job of that last game as well, always anticipating the plays that Suning wants to make.
Because we're getting towards our next objective. We're getting towards mid-game, we're getting towards late game, and if DMO slow this pace down, then maybe tempo in their favor. There's Arrow flying through Mitsuki's like, nice. Good dodge, I guess, as Bin's on for the dive. The hero's entrance, the Tempered Fate. That's how that combo works.
Yep, so just playing this pick comp, spreading DMO out across the map, and then constantly abusing that map mobility. Great job from Suning to draft this comp that harder to execute, hard to see how it cohesively wins, and saying, hey, we're fine playing on those windows.
That can keep dodging out. Shielded Durant in the middle of the Lambs. Respite DMO are all bunched together. Angel takes the turret aggro. Golden for 2 as Bin flashes away, but SOFM can take it up for now. As Suning are getting a little bit low, but DMO can't chase this one up. It's a big window for Suning to take.
And we saw the value of the Lamb's Respite in these compositions, right? Because had either one, Chalitza had Cyclone, or two, Shub had not been picked off already, the members of Suning got so low that we could have seen some kind of massive wombo from DMO come out. So that's a play we need to keep track of later on, is how the Lamb's Respite really kind of nullifies what Suning wants to do. But still, Suning had the 5v4. They feel confident going for this play. Chalitza doesn't have Cyclone up, so isn't able to really keep the members of Suning locked down. And overall, Suning just having enough damage coming out from Angel, Huanfeng, and Bin to find some kills on the back line.
Xiaopeng actually putting out a bit of damage himself under that turret, but 5-1, a 2K gold score. If that was real English. 15 minutes into the game, this is a much stronger early game, and you notice Huanfeng actually picks up some resources himself. The person that was behind in lane for the first time in this series now has Blade of the Ruin King and a fully stacked call.
It's actually funny that we saw Suning not putting resources into him. Sure, they still weren't losing out by moving him to the mid lane, but it wasn't like game 1 or 2 where they were funneling it onto him. But he still ends up with the most gold in the game.
Yeah, somehow. Even after all the attention paid towards Bin. Suning with command, back to the second Herald. Topside pushed out, no one nearby. Super easy to take, and you got 30 seconds before Dragon comes up.
Yeah, so Suning taking advantage of the long lane they have, and think about it right now. You can really mind game DMO by, actually, it looks like they're just going to look to collapse for an engage.
And Tempered Fate flashed away from by Xiaopeng, but it catches that Twilight teleport. Being channeled right in the middle of the fight. Angel starts it off, though. Bin cornered down. In with the counter-strike, though. On a low health bar, he still picks up the kill and trades his life, while Chalitza on the back end took that fight as his own.
And overall, this is just Suning not understanding their win condition. You can keep Bin in, give Bin Herald, keep Bin in the top lane, and then DMO feels constant threat that if they don't have 2 men top, that Bin just drops Herald and takes an inhibitor himself. Why are you the ones opting into a team fight when you have this strong side lane threat? DMO don't care, though. They're like, thank you, Suning, and they profit off that so much.
They thought, oh, last time Chalitza was in the fight was no problem, but this time he had Cyclone available, and that's the difference. You got to highlight on Bin, but that's not going to be the case. As teleport's going to be channeled here. Lyric, we go again. Okay, that's a fast Angel. Is it in time at 300? No, Smite's going to come down. Xiaopeng dancing away. The flush there for the Cosmic Binding was not good.
Overall, even had Xiaopeng gone down, I actually don't think it matters as long as you secure the Dragon. So just another added benefit. Here we see Suning collapsing, looking for this fight. They try to get the pick on the Shubin. Huanfeng turns around and starts hitting minions. Great ult coming out from Mitsuki, and then Chalitza showing us why Wukong is pretty much the S+ tier top laner in LPL. They have a great wombo combo coming out with Shubin's ultimate as well. And of course, Xiaopeng also having a ton of DPS on this Kindred.
All I was looking at was Bin, because I'm like, oh, it's Jack's time, and then it manages to trade his life in the end. But we come back to live. Suning is still getting quite a bit in terms of objective. This bottom lane turret is going to fall as well. Map gets wider. Bin's up in the top side, causing havoc. DMO trying to clear out some vision.
And, okay, we're not going to see.
Are we?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering too. That's why I'm stopping.
Hang on. Leap Strike on a low cooldown. Enchant across the arrow misses, but Mitsuki get pummeled to death by Bin. Hero's entrance as DMO this time getting caught out. Tempered Fate a little bit late, but stops the game in its track. And Lyric's head is in his hands as DMO have walked in one by one. to pretty much throw the game in the toilet.
Hysterics, it makes no sense. Why was Mitsuki doing that? We see Twilight is in the bottom half of the map. 5v5 teamfight is the name of the game from the last fight. It looked like they understood that.
You've said this, yes. Twilight wasn't there.
Yeah, Twilight wasn't there, Hysterics.
And now he's walked into mid lane. A good scout of the week, I guess.
He's dead.
He's dead.
He's gone.
He just killed himself.
Look, there's
Oh no.
There's nothing I can say about DMO
Let's say it nicely. He has committed seppuku. And the Black Cleaver Jax now gets another kill.
They found their win. They won a fight. It should click in their mind like, hey, we have great team fight ultimates. We do amazing in the 5v5.
Yeah.
We wait it out. We let Suning play through their window. They realistically can't do anything. We wait for the next neutral. We do it again. I don't know what goes through Mitsuki's mind or whoever's shot calling for DMO to say, hey, that ward right there, that ward looks quite
we
yummy.
should get that ward out.
Holy.
You and DMO, like, you know, there's me and Aphelios, and there's you and DMO. It started with Natural. Now I think it's carried on to Mitsuki.
It's not DMO. It's me with when it looks like a team understands how they win the game, and then they do something. That. Did you see my tweet of what I said for IG on the guy with the chair?
No, I didn't.
Oh, what? Oh, we can't.
You're
have
gonna
this
have to show.
out.
Okay, it's too bad.
Okay, let's watch this fight instead.
So what happened?
We see Twilight is bot. We see Shubin is mid. DMO wins straight up 5v5 team fights. They have no vision of anyone from Suning, and Mitsuki says, "Hey, let's protect our vision," and then they all die.
One by one.
Yeah,
that happened, huh? All right. It's a 5K gold lead. I was being really positive today. You said it when we went to the bathroom. You said you're being really positive today. And to be fair, I'm not the one who's kind of tearing them apart. But DMO, they had a game. They picked up their first ever game win in summer. And now it looks like they're going to lose the series.
You aren't doing it wrong if no one knows what you're doing.
Ah.
I feel like DMO are trying to live by that.
Yeah. Mitsuki once again. He's been called out. The hero's entrance, Shubin was tempered fate, knocked up. And the bottom lane of DMO have done it again.
Yeah, DMO just getting caught out, realistically making mistakes that don't need to be made. And honestly, after that last play with Suning being 5K gold ahead, feels like it's really easy for Suning to try to create these kinds of opportunities. And this Baron is pretty much guaranteed.
Yep, even though there's a ward on it, you can see Xiaopeng's mid. I was going to ask you, what do you think about the Black Cleaver Jax? Was it just a rush to the second item, or is there mystery? Is there something behind it?
No, it's just probably a rush to second item, right? It's cheaper than the Triforce.
Trinity Force feels so good with being like, what do you call it, playing the King?
Just wanting to get some gold under his belt, but he also has been trying to play these team fights, so I don't know what kind of logic's going through his head where he says, hey, I'm trying to group with my team. Maybe I need to be tankier, but...
He's supporting Juan Fong for the armor shred. There we go. What a guy. Shalisa spotted out. And here we go. 1 versus 2. Lamb's fight is available as Bin's still going to take this on. Bit of damage coming out of Xiaopeng, but backs away as Angels joined the fray.
Hey, you see that extra gold from Kindle Gem paying off.
That's it. Black Cleaver's done a lot so far. Xiaopeng, where's he going? I guess away. Flashes away. This is cool. Bin actually might die as the trade-off, but nope. Shubin's top.
Okay, so Shubin is in the top lane while his team is aggressively looking for picks on the bot side.
Oh, the series is so good until now.
It's actually pretty strange where, okay, Chalitza over pushing, getting 1v1 by the Jax, and Xiaopeng thinking he can save him while his AD carry on the other side.
And they're flashing in. This might just be the nail in the coffin. The way this game's going for DMO, Angel can't secure the kill. SFM takes up the turret. No one dies somehow, but because of the health bar, Suning will get themselves an inhibitor.
And I love that Suning have recognized all these mistakes coming out from DMO and just saying, hey, you know, you guys do you. We'll take advantage of this. They'll take some structures, and this Jax build might be a bit different, but still we see he's constantly bullying out Chalitza in the side lane, so the result's the same, and Suning in a great place to keep pushing this game forward.
And give themselves a win, because at the end of the day, all that matters is they pick up a win, right? The Suning have been playing pretty decently. Well, bar the big team fight we saw where DMO picked up kills. At this point, what is it, 8K, 7K gold lead? Yep. Not bad.
Yeah, we're at a 7K gold lead. Dragon not up for 4 more minutes, but doesn't feel like you really need to wait out for the next Dragon. You're the comp that does have the proactive tools. You're also the comp that is winning out in side lane. So we can see Suning keep trying to attack the map, playing up with their Jax getting vision down and using these long-range ultimates to find picks.
Like that, flash away from it, and DMO sidestep, but the pillar goes up, and Mitsuki does not want to add a 4th death into the mix.
No, and
Chalit's is here. Spotted out. This
Yes,
is a
he
good
is.
move from Suning. They've got an open in him to take as the engage started onto SOFM. Bit of damage. Almost gets burnt on down. The hero's entrance knocks up 2. Over the wall is Bin. Forces the Lambs respite. Now Angel makes his move as well. The Protobelt gets the kill. They moved out of the ulti, and that was late from Shubin. As Suning have just shown that DMO, kids, you got a lot to learn if you want to stay in the LPL.
you know, ultimately, DMO got to win.
That's it. That's all that matters.
It's a small victory in itself. Suning looking decisive, playing a hard comp, and picking up the W is all that matters.
You know what? They may not be the V5 of summer, but this game was pretty close to a V5 feeling for DMO. As we run it through, and Suning with a 2-1 in 25-minute fashion will end this series. The music's even early. It's like, yep, put this one in the bag. Suning have taken it.
Overall, Suning keeping the momentum up, which is good. They picked up the 2-0 over Rogue Warriors, and sure, today might be a 2-1, but at the end of the day, it's all about getting wins on the board. So